I'm a guy that's 25. Lego Star Wars is my life. I like Ryan Johnson. I'm Rich Boy J. Hello boyos, Rich Boy J here back with another video, and this is going to be episode 50 of the LEGO Star Wars Starkiller base MOC build series. Before I get into this week's update, I do want to give a very special thanks to those of you who donated to the streams via Super Chat. Shout out to Brickfreak, EandABricks, Axidroid, LordoftheBrix, Double Dare Ruben, Ty the Lego Guy, Jonathan Trevino, Alex McBrick, Numpkin Barbosa, Rebel Bricks, TheUnkownBrick, Legobdr, The One Obi-Wan, BrixFilms, Xavier Sorrent, Matthew T, and Chris Blank Productions. You guys are awesome. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate that you're willing to contribute via Super Chats. If you guys have not tuned into the live streams, I certainly urge you to do so. It's a great way for you to not only see the MOC early, but to also hang out with some boyos, talk Star Wars, talk about the things that really matter in this lifetime. What more could you ask for than that? This week was, well, these 2 weeks actually were some interesting ones. I actually ended up holding off on Starkiller for a week. I mean, it's been 2 weeks since the last one. I skipped a week basically because I was hoping to get some orders in that I really needed to make significant progress on the Barracks, and I did. I made some good progress on it. I unfortunately was not able to complete it. Like, it's mostly done. There's just some small detail stuff that needs to be added in, just some orders that didn't come in on time, unfortunately. But I definitely have a lot of cool things to show you guys and some really fun rooms in the Barracks that I think you'll appreciate. So without further ado, let's jump right into it, guys. All right, we make our way back to Starkiller. You can see for the lower sections, I have finished up all the beds. They look pretty cool. I love how they're almost floating, protruding from the walls there. I am quite fond of this design that I came up with. It is basically the same thing on this side. The sides of this room are basically mirror images of each other. One cool thing I did to just really give the walls a bit more design is I came up with this basically rounded off rectangle here. And there's another one on the other side, and the plan is basically to just put some trans red bricks that'll stack up behind this and then have some light shining through it just to give it that first order aesthetic. And like I said, I didn't just want to have plain gray walls here. That's kind of what I started off with. I wanted to have a little bit more going on there, so that's the design I came up with. And I think once I finally get those trans red bricks installed and the lights installed, it's going to look pretty freaking good. It's kind of hard to tell what's going on in the back here because it's pretty dark, but I did basically make this able to have lights installed at the top, so that's just something I need to do. But you'll notice on the back walls, I did include those coffin shapes in the walls, so those are looking pretty good. Once again, same thing on the other side. I think this first level is looking very, very nice. There are probably a few other details I'll add in. Like, I was thinking maybe I'd add like a shelf with basically a bunch of helmets and other crap on it that they might leave around just to make it look a little bit more unkempt and barrack-like. But other than that, the first level of this is mostly complete, and I'm a pretty big fan of it. Moving on to the next level, this is the cannon behind this is an elevator that would take you up here, and I started working on a weight room. I'm super happy with the way this came out. I actually threw in some scout troopers there to have pumping some iron, and you'll see on this side I have the weight rack, so I have the smaller dumbbells over on that side, and then as you progress over here you get the larger dumbbells. So I thought that was a pretty cool just attention to detail. There's also a bench press at the back of the room that you'll notice. It's currently not being occupied. I figure whenever I actually add the figures that are supposed to be here, I'll probably have someone laying down on the bench using it. I have a guy doing some deadlifts right here, and we also have another guy just doing some dumbbell curls. My plan is actually to have on this wall that would basically be right behind these dumbbells is mirrors. This will basically just be a wall of mirrors that goes across here, and the idea is for it to basically look like what you'd see in a gym. the walls are all lined with mirrors so you can appreciate the way you look while you're trying to improve the way you look. So that's my goal here. I had to order a bunch of those mirror pieces. It's the same one that I used in the restroom area of the build, and I think it's going to look pretty awesome. I love the fact that I've used mirrors so extensively in this MOC, or at least I'm going to be once I get this room filled in. It's just not only a nice detail to add to it, because you don't typically see people use that piece, but also if you're looking at the MOC from one direction, the mirror shows the reflection of the other wall, so it might make you want to be like, oh, like there's stuff on the other side. Let me turn around and see what's going on over there. Another thing I did to make this look more like a gym is I added the brick wall here. I mean, I had basically this big bag of these masonry bricks, and I mean, I didn't know when I'd ever use these, especially in a Star Wars MOC, but I was like, hey, like this might actually kind of work. It works to give it that gym aesthetic. So I like it there. I want to keep it there. I'll probably have my boy Waffles whip up some posters, some inspirational weightlifting posters to throw in this room. But for now, I like the way it came out. So the next theme I'm going to be working on is this room over here. This is basically going to be a rec room. I'm still not exactly sure what I want to put over here. I was thinking maybe like a ping pong table. I thought that might be a fun thing to include. I don't know if that's exactly what I'll do, but this will basically just be more of a recreational type of area for the stormtroopers, and that's basically going to finish off this entire room. So we're so close to getting this module done. Once this module is done, I'll basically be able to stack it on top of these two. That's not how it's going to look. I still need to add like the bricks where they'll be able to sit on to each other properly. And that's going to basically conclude the interior section of Starkiller base. So I want to go ahead and work on this last room right here. Really finish up the walls in this room. I don't know if I'm going to get those mirror pieces in time for this update, but nonetheless, I'll still just build the wall back there so you'll get an idea of where the mirrors are supposed to be, and we'll see how this goes. Oh, one last thing I did want to mention, because I really did like this design. I included these circular devices right here. This is what I imagine to be some sort of first order loudspeaker. There's one on each wall, and the idea was this is how they get their communications. If there's, I don't know, intruders, they would get the communications to these loudspeakers, and it was so fun being able to use these X-Wing engine pieces. I just love them so much. It gives you an aesthetic that you previously just couldn't get with Lego pieces, so I love it primarily for that reason. And I like the way it looks in this room. It just adds even more detail. So let's go ahead and work on this room. Alright guys, let's check back in on the barracks. You can see that we finally have some lights built into this room, and I even added a few figures to populate the area. I'm honestly not exactly sure what I wanted to do with figures. Like, obviously, I'm not just going to have a bunch of guys walking around here in armor. They should be in more casual clothing, I suppose, but I'm still not exactly sure what I want that to look like. So until then, I'll just throw some stormtroopers in here, because why the heck not? But I love the way the beds came out. They're all finally correctly assembled and full. They just complete the look of this wall. I feel like the stairs, or the ladder rather, between them also looks really nice, so you can get a look at how a stormtrooper is climbing it. And that is exactly the effect that I was going for. On the back wall, you also get a look at those coffin shapes that you can actually kind of see now, considering the fact that we finally have lighting here. The other side is basically the same situation. Got beds on the wall, coffins on the back. One thing I did add in are these red benches right here. This is pretty cool design. I use them in the upper levels in the workout rooms, and I decided why not go ahead and use it again. It's a pretty nice looking design. As for the rest of this room, I still need to add some more figures. I left some 2x2 jumper plates here in black to place some more figures, so those will need to be added in there. I also didn't add doors on either sides of this. The design won't be too complicated, as you can hardly even see the door from these angles, but I do need to add those doors in to complete the bottom level of the barracks, but so far it's looking good. Oh, one other thing, I also need to get those trans red bricks. I was thinking I was going to have enough. I actually didn't have nearly as many as I thought I did, so that's going to have to be a feature that I'll push back until the next episode. But so far, so good. These barracks look pretty nice. The colors look good. And I don't know, it's just a nice, fun thing to do on this MOC. You know, I love the fact that I was able to add in something that we don't necessarily see on screen, but something that you would fully expect to be in Starkiller base. If we move upwards, we get a look at the mostly completed workout room. I love the brick pattern on the back and side wall there. It just makes it look so much like an actual workout room. I unfortunately did not get the parts in on time to complete the wall of the mirrors. I only have one mirror right there to give you just an idea of where it's going to be placed on the wall. But so far, so good. I like the way this room turned out. I, of course, am going to need to replace the scout troopers with actual first order troops, probably in some like workout gear, maybe even shirtless. They might be shirtless in this room. I think this room is going to look so good once we actually have the mirrors on the wall, as well as the accurate figures. But for now, I'm just happy that it's mostly done. And of course, we have the lights in the ceiling. And I'm still keeping up with those snot ceilings. Your boy, Rich Boy Jay, loves him a snot ceiling. Speaking of snot ceilings, you can see up top, it is fully snot, which brings us over to the rec room. Look at what I did here, guys. I added a first order basketball court. This was partially inspired by the fact that the basketball playoffs are happening right now, the NBA playoffs. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll just make this like kind of in the same vein as this room, like things you'd find in a gym, but just two different types of rooms. So I decided to add in a first order basketball court, which is kind of cool. I'm going to try to get some closer views. In fact, unfortunately, I've kind of closed myself in on this room to not be able to give you an aerial view because of the ceiling. But the basketball rim and hoop, or backboard rather, are both pretty simple. I just used some flex tubing, basically bent it into a circle, and that's how I got the hoop right there. I have the troop right here taking a shot from the three-point line. You guessed it, there is actually a three-point line. I basically just used some pretty simple snot techniques to get a three-point line in the floor right there. And that's all we need. Me and my team, we only shoot threes. We don't go for twos or anything else. That's why there's no other lines. All we need is a three-point line. But that's it, guys. Like, that's the barracks room for today. I love the way this came out. This pulled back shot looks so good, just with the various rooms in here, giving a little more liveliness to Starkiller base. Everything's not so serious anymore. These are mostly fun-ish rooms. I'd say the top two, certainly. The bottom one, I definitely want to add some funny scenes in there once I figure out what kind of minifigure I want to use for the First Order Trooper in casual clothing. But this is the stopping point for this week's episode. I really, really wanted to get all the parts in, like the trans red bricks for the walls in here, as well as the mirror pieces for the gym wall. Just didn't turn out that way, but that's still fine. This is the last remaining module that I had to build for the interior of Starkiller base. So it feels like I've gotten so much progress done. I kind of view this MOC in phases. Phase 1 was the main platform where all the troops were. Phase 2 was kind of the stage area, which took forever to build. Stage 3 has been seemingly the longest stage, with just getting all these interior rooms completed. As we move forward throughout this MOC, we're actually going to finally move back to the outside of the build, and those sections I expect to move and progress much faster than these have, just because there aren't so many small details that I'll need to incorporate into different types of rooms with ceilings. It'll basically just be a lot of building up and then building snow on top of it. So things are looking pretty good with Starkiller base, guys. Let's go ahead and go to the end of the video. And that's going to finish up the video this week. I hope you enjoyed checking out Starkiller once more. We are closing the chapter on Phase 3. Well, mostly. Like, I still have a few things to do. But for the most part, we're done with this just giant section of the MOC. And we can start moving on to the next section, which is going to essentially be the other side of the base on the outside. So I've been kind of debating what I wanted to do with this section. Initially, my plan was to just mostly cover it with mountains and then have one almost like an observation deck type of thing, basically the room where General Hux and the rest of the First Order look out onto the battlefield. I still plan on incorporating that room, but I'm thinking I can maybe do something a little bit more interesting with just the mountain section of it. Like, there will be some aspect of it that is mountains, but I'm thinking of maybe doing this scene right here. This specific part of Starkiller base, there's tons of establishing shots of Starkiller base, and I feel like if I built this, it would one, not force me into doing just a significant section of rock work, and also just give the MOC something more interesting on this side of the build rather than just a tall thing of rocks. So you guys let me know what you think about this decision and put in the comment section below. But that's all I got for you guys this week. If you like what I do, go ahead, support the video by hitting the like button, support the channel by smashing that subscribe button, and I'll be back again very soon.